This video will describe how I utilised the game sense approach to teach kids from Mowbray Primary School how to dribble, pass and catch a basketball. At the beginning of the lesson, I sat the kids down, introduced myself and discussed what behaviour management strategies we would be using today. I asked the class, what are the three main skills utilised in basketball? The students responded with dribbling, passing and shooting. Next, we discussed what learning outcomes we would achieve today. And by the end of the lesson, students will be able to dribble with their non-preferred hand and their preferred hand and complete chest passes in accordance with the Tasmanian Fundamental Movement Skill Manual. As this was my first interaction with these students, I was unsure of their abilities. So before activities commenced, I asked for a student demonstration of the skills we would be using. Based off these demonstrations, I deemed the activities suitable given their level of proficiency in these skill areas. The first activity involved a chest pass to a partner. For every correct pass made, the partners would take a step back and increase the distance. Students were then asked how they could make this more difficult or make it more like basketball. Their response included the introduction of a defender. This allowed the progression into a more game-like activity. Activity 2 was a form of piggy in the middle. Initially, students stood still and threw the ball over the defender. However, after some discussions, the players began to utilise space more effectively and use bounce passes in addition to chest passes to get the ball past their opponent. Progressions from this activity includes 2 versus 2, 3 versus 2, and even up to 5 versus 5. Based on feedback I received, I introduced a short, sharp whistle blast for behaviour management. On the whistle, students would stop, place the ball between their feet, look and listen for my directions. After students were confident with their passing ability, we moved into the skill of the basketball dribble. The third activity is called Survivor. This is where students would be dribbling the basketball whilst trying to knock other students' basketballs out of a designated zone. To ensure student time on task remained high, if you were knocked out of one zone, you would move into a second zone, and vice versa. Initially, students were only to use their right hand. However, as progression, the left hand was used, as were both hands alternating. To cater for student needs, feedback was provided to help them develop. Some students were bouncing the ball too high, others were using both hands at the same time. Following the feedback, students were able to demonstrate the correct skills. The final activity was the combination of the two skills we practiced. By combining these skills, students could demonstrate their ability to play in a game scenario. The aim of this game is to score the most consecutive passes between you and your teammates. As stated previously, I responded to feedback from my first lesson in relation to my behaviour management and the use of the whistle. In addition to this, further feedback included adding more progression within the activities, such as Activity 3's dribbling with the preferred and non-preferred hands to increase student skills. This is because during the first lesson, students were not directed which hand to use. This feedback aligned me closer to my intended learning outcomes than before, as it now allowed for a demonstration of both preferred and non-preferred hands. My reflections and feedback from my peers will be reflected in my future teachings and whilst I'm on prac. In my planning, I will focus on logical progressions to increase difficulty rather than changes in activities. Personally, I believe that my clarity of instructions could be improved. I can do this through rehearsals and practice of what I would say before classes.